So let's cut to the chase. Where have I been? Um, that's a long story. I'm going to try to boil that down into I don't know, 8-minute video. Let's see how this goes. But I have been doing a lot of things. But first, I wanted to talk about coming off the trail, the Appalachian Trail. As you know, many of you followed me on the Appalachian Trail, and that was one excellent adventure. And I just wanted to talk a little bit first about like trail bliss and how I felt after the trail. But then I'm also going to talk about what I'll coin it as post-trail depression. I don't think it's a clinical depression, so don't call your psychologist. But it is something that happens to people like me who have, spent months and months traveling the trail, and kind of you get off trail and things are different. So we're going to talk about three different things. One, where I've been and what I've been up to. What I'm doing to kind of regain my focus, and what the future looks like. I do have some notes that I might be following, but needless to say, let's kind of hop right into it. Where have I been? After the trail, I needed to get a job. I didn't have a job. I don't know if you guys had followed me before the trail, but I quit my job. I had saved up for the AT and quit my job, and didn't plan on going back. So when I got back home, I had a couple weeks where I needed to kind of reestablish my finances, so to speak. Which that's basically a way of saying I gotta make money because I just spent money for 5 months on the trail. So I sat down and I started looking at data certificates or data analyst certificates. And in the meantime, I was looking at jobs. When I was looking at jobs to transition into, say, a data position, what I found is I pretty much didn't have any skills that were super transferable from physical therapy over into data or marketing analyst positions. So I did the next best thing, and I spoke with a local college that had an online night class, and I started that. Say on a Monday, and the week later I started I'll call it a contract job as a physical therapist. And that was through a mutual friend who I'd worked for prior to the Appalachian Trail. So I jumped back into that. So what I ended up doing is going from doing, hiking every day to sitting on my couch for a week or so, and then jumping full bore into a data analyst certificate course or boot camp, as you will. And what I found is I literally traded 12 hours of hiking to 12 to 15 hours of sitting. And my eating got really bad, just like you would expect. And I gained quite a bit of weight. And I'm sure people who, saw me on the trail, hi to all my tramley, they'll say, wow, that guy put on a bunch of weight. And I did. And I spent, 4 months or so studying, learning, and growing. And by doing that, I did gain weight, but I earned my certificate. And then transitioning from the certificate to, trying to look for a job, I looked and realized that I had put off my wife, who is her side gig is being a travel advisor or travel agent, and I had promised her 2 years ago that I would help her with it. And for all you husbands out there, don't make that promise unless you're going to stick to it. So, long story short, I jumped back into helping her, putting the data analyst stuff aside to some extent. I do have somebody that I'm working with to help them build their company, but that's a small opportunity. May grow into something in the future. I'm unsure. We'll see how that goes. But I turned my focus and attention to helping my wife with her travel business. And while also I was still looking for a job and working full time, and I decided I'm going to back off looking for a job. I'm going to use the skills that I have learned over the years for online marketing, just marketing in general, sales, and then the data analyst, plus my business knowledge to help her, which is one of the first steps that I realized when I came back from the trip. I was all over the place. I was thinking of doing this, doing that. I wanted to restart my YouTube channel. I did, I think, one video as a follow-up. And then I realized, okay, I can't do YouTube, can't do data certificate boot camp and work, full time. And the job is 1 hour from my house. So my day was taken up. I was getting burnt out and feeling like, something had to change. So long story short, I gained a bunch of weight. I tried to do some hiking, and I'm still getting back into it. And with that said, that's always been my focus on my physical change that I want is to be able to hike, whenever, wherever I want to go. And I've kind of lost that a bit because of all the, all the work and the job search. So, one, I'm gaining that back. Two, part of the physical is I'm starting to lift weights. I've realized, like many people, I had no upper body strength when I got back from the Appalachian Trail. So I started lifting weights. I'm building up some muscle. So it's not all fat that I've gained, but a good portion of it is. And that's the physical aspect of it. The help my wife stuff is going to be a long-term project, and I'm slowly transitioning into that role, learning and growing, trying to understand the travel industry. And that's something that I may, and I don't know what this is going to look like, but that my channel may morph more into a kind of a channel for travel agents, travel advisors, as well as, a travel channel. But that remains to be seen at this point. I am going to be putting out 5 post-Appalachian Trail videos. Hopefully they help people who pretty much are either on the trail right now or are going to be starting soon. I'm gonna blast those out in a 5-day boom 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 boom. So that'll start after the day after this video comes out. It'll be some 5 quick videos to help people start or get comfortable with the Appalachian Trail. So that brings me a little bit of what I'm going to be doing, but also I'm going to work on my focus. I'm trying to restructure my day-to-day so that I can work closer to home and work nearby where I work out, so I can kill 2 birds, go work out, come home, eat, and then work on my wife's travel business. keeping it as simple as I can, what I found is I'm too distracted. And that can be good if I can make small accomplishments throughout the work week, where I can post Facebook stuff and Instagram and and I'm gonna learn Snapchat, maybe, Pinterest, maybe, but also using the YouTube channel to help my wife grow her business. So again, staying focused, but using my skills that I've gained over the years. And hopefully this resonates with some people who, one, you get off the trail and you're kind of a little lost, and then two, you want something fresh, you want something new, but you don't want to spend, countless hours doing both jobs. So that's kind of a quick, what I'm looking to do. Part of it is focus. Part of it is maintaining. I got to grab my screen up. It just went blank. Maintaining the like with focus. You don't want to spend your day just blocking out things. You need to declutter, which I've always felt like in your life you have to declutter first, and then you can create a system and start to work forward with that. But ultimately, and this will get a little spiritual, our job here on earth is to help others. So whether it's me hiking the Appalachian Trail, or helping my wife with her business, or working as a physical therapist, my job here is to help others. And that's my main focus. So that's the locus of what I'm looking to do, especially with the travel agent, the physical therapist, the hiking, and the lifting weights. Maybe talking to people in a gym, seeing if people are, if their form is wrong, maybe helping them out. But I don't want to be that pushy guy like, hey, you're doing that wrong. So that's kind of part of it, is helping others, decluttering so that I have a more firm focus on what I'm doing, and giving it time to ride out. My YouTube channel, yeah, it suffered while I was gone from it, which is fine. If it's meant to be that I someday get 1 million followers, then that means that I'm just helping 1 million people. And I'm not too worried about that. It's, again, helping other people, whether it's grow their business, etc. So I don't want to bog you down on that. But I do, I want to touch on what I consider to be post-trail depression for me. I don't know how everybody is. I was told by several people when we were going through Maine to just kind of settle in and absorb everything and take it all in, because it's gonna end too quick or too quickly. And so what I realized when I got off trail and I had 5 months of adventures and stories is that everybody would ask a couple questions. And if you've hiked the Appalachian Trail, everybody wants to hear something. Some people are more interested in others, and they'll ask a question. And I felt myself just going down rabbit holes of all these memories, to the point where at work, I was allowed 4 times talking about the Appalachian Trail. One of the guys that I work with, he would raise his, like I'd say Appalachian Trail, and he'd look at me and he'd go, that's 1, and then throughout the day, he'd be like, that's 3, that's 4. It's like, and he was being kind. And it was fun. It was fun to talk about that. But every week that you're on the trail, you're experiencing so much. and you want to share it. But part of that is you get off trail and you just realize, like how different it is. Originally I felt like everything was too loud, everything was too fast. I was very, not anxious, but like when I go driving in the car, I'm like, well, why are all these people in front of me? You never on the trail got slowed up by somebody because you could just walk around them, and you weren't worrying about getting into a head-on collision. But the more the longer you stay off trail, I realized my eating on trail was, while it was, I'll call it as good as it could be, I was taking in probably 2,500 calories while I was expending, I'm sure, more than that, because every time I got into town, I would eat and eat and eat, and drink Diet Coke, and just, started to just, take in all this. But I had figured out how much I needed on the trail. You get off trail and the refrigerator is 20 feet away, 15 or whatever, depending on where you're sitting in your house. And it's always there. And my sugar, I'll call it my sugar addiction. I'm not here to talk too much nutrition, but my sugar addiction just kicked in. I mean, I remember one week, probably 2 to 3 weeks after I got off trail, where I was just hungry all day and, or every day. And I gained like 5 pounds just in that week. And I'm like, I didn't remember eating what would equate to an extra, 17,000 calories that week, which would be like a half a pound of fat a day or whatever. I don't know. And so I started to go down this road. You start to get more tired. You start to, I haven't slept well since I got off the trail. I'll come home from work and like doze for a minute and feel like you're just kind of in this sluggish state, and it's hard to break out of that. But I want to make people aware that yes, life will change, and no matter what I set in place, saying I'm going to do X, Y, and Z, and I'm going to keep this weight off, and it didn't happen. I got back into old habits, and now I'm trying to break those habits again. So with that said, the next steps are going to be 5 days of kind of post-trail discussions. I am going to video those right now, so I'll most likely be wearing the same outfit in all 5 videos, so please don't get offended. It's not like I spent 5 days, without showering and in the same outfit. So 5 days, and at the end of the 5 days, I'm going to kind of lay out my plan for the channel. That I'm still working on that. I'll be working on that throughout the day. I'll lay out my plan and then go forward from there. So thank you for listening to me, yak on for the last, I don't even know how long this video is. I thought it'd be 8 minutes. I'm probably at 30 minutes right now. But that kind of put it out there. If somebody is experiencing like post-trail depression, I totally get it. It's not like I'm gloomy. It's just you're living a different life than you did on the trail. But with that said, hopefully these next 5 videos will help. They will come out day to day to day, and then with a transition with this channel. If you do have any comments or suggestions on what you want to see, or you have specific questions about the Appalachian Trail that I don't cover in these next videos, please leave a comment, as they come up. And I think that, I think that's it. And thank you for following me on the AT, and thank you for watching this video. See you next time.